and that's where we met a consultant. The consultant came immediately, and we kind of noticed as soon as we got to Great Ormond Street, within an hour we saw obviously the nurses, we saw the head nurse, we saw a doctor and a consultant within an hour. So we were like, wow, this is amazing. Like, you know, is in the worst situation possible. It's amazing that we've seen, you know, this main consultant, you know.
Yeah.
And every time, even when we see this consultant now, every time we see her, me and Chris, our heart just sinks, because she was one to give us the awful news for, you know, that first period of time. But she took us into a room and she said, we suspect it is Wilms cancer, but we need to do further tests. We need to do an MRI, which we'll do tomorrow. We need to do and just, you know, further scans and a head scan as well.
That night at Gosh, what did you and Chris do?
Nothing. I laid in bed with her. They tried to kick one of us out.
Mm-hmm.
I was obviously like, I'm not going anywhere. Chris the same. And then they agreed that actually we could both stay. And they actually let us stay for a few, not both together, for a few nights, which simply because there was just no way that we was moving. I was laying one side of the bed, Chris was laying the other side of the bed in a tiny little single bed. Don't know how we squeezed in there, but we did. And literally just holding her hand. She was scared. She knew that something wasn't right.
Just skipping forward, and this is just something that I've noticed since November to now, is the amount of, as much as everybody is fantastic, the amount of chasing and the amount of work that you have to do as a family when you are going through what you're going through.
That became very, very evident pretty much from day one. And so someone asked me recently, like, God, I would be really angry at the world, you know, if that happened, and, you know, you don't seem angry at all. And I actually said, do you know what, I really direct my anger towards, rightly or wrongly, but towards the health professionals. They are amazing, clearly, at what they do, but sometimes they do need a little kick up their backside. And I do want them to know that if Arianna's coming in, this is to our local hospital and also Great Ormond Street, if Arianna's coming in, everything needs to be absolutely perfect, because I'm not messing around with any of her treatment, I'm not messing around with anything. So they need to be on point with everything. The amount of arguments I've had with doctors or nurses or consultants, the amount of, and our CNS as well, the amount of like chasing that I've had to do, I would do that all over again to make sure that it's perfect for Arianna when she goes in, and everyone knows what's happening when Arianna's in, whether that's me or Chris there. And I'm very different to Chris. I am quite mouthy, and I can be, and I do speak my mind, no matter, I don't care who that's to. But I point that anger to the right people, because I feel like they need to be on point with absolutely everything when we're coming in.
I just think that's amazing, because the energy you have from an outsider, all I can think of is just the news you've had and having Arianna poorly. We haven't even gone into the fact you've got 3 other children. Haven't gone into that yet. So at the moment we're just talking about you, your husband and Arianna. Let's throw into the mix. How old's Raya now?
She's 10 weeks.
So you've done all of this whilst being pregnant, whilst giving birth, and having Zara and Maya.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And you are amazing.
Oh, I
you are
totally
amazing.
Don't feel it, but
you are.
thank you.
So when you say I've had to channel all my efforts into the chasing and the calls, and I don't know where you find your energy, and I don't know where you find your time to do that. Could you explain that?
Well, firstly, I think mine and Chrissy's work have been absolutely amazing. They gave us as much time off as we needed, and obviously with me being pregnant anyway, that just kind of fell into me going on maternity when Raya was born. So that gave both of us time off to just really focus on the kids, basically. And yeah, I think everyone does always ask that question, oh God, how have you coped? How have you got on with it? But you just have to, right? It's like anyone else who has been thrown into this situation, you just have to get on with it. And no matter how, you find a way to do that. Obviously, we've been not seeing any of our family, obviously apart from until recently. But Arianna's not been to school. Maya's obviously not been to preschool. The only time we've been in seeing anyone is my midwife, who's a good friend of ours, obviously, Rachel. She was like amazing throughout that whole process. She came round to mine to do all of my blood tests even, and everything. She was just amazing, set up everything up for me to be induced, because I was due on Arianna's birthday, of course. So she wanted to make sure that I didn't, you know, have the baby on Arianna's birthday, and I was around, and it fitted in with Arianna's hospital visits, so it was perfect. So people like that has been, you know, just helped us out massively. Obviously family the same, and it's just got to get on with it. Really. And I'm not going to say it's easy, because it has not been. It's tested mine and Chris's relationship to another level, but we get on with it.
You're incredible.
So Arianna had her MRI scan, and then the same consultant who we met on day one at Great Ormond Street, she came back up. She got a play team member to sit with Arianna while we went in another room, of course. And she then told us, do you know what, actually, sorry, just before that, a lady who I've never met before, but my friend who lives in America, she put me in touch with a lady whose daughter has a cancer that I never heard of, neuroblastoma. And the lady texted me and was like, you know, was just chatting and saying, I'm so sorry to hear the news that your daughter might have Wilms cancer. My daughter has neuroblastoma. And I was like, God, I've never heard of that. And I Googled it, and I was like, oh my God, that sounds horrific. And actually Wilms cancer has, you know, it just, everything about it just seemed, you know, that little bit better, if you can even say that, right? And I was like, oh God, I'm so sorry to hear that. What stage is your daughter at? And we was having a really nice conversation. Lovely lady. And then anyway, the next day we found out actually that it's not Wilms cancer, it's neuroblastoma, and they suspect that it's spread to her bones, because under the MRI scan, her bones in her legs looked mottled. And by this point, Arianna actually stopped walking altogether, because she had severe pain that's also in her back, but actually the pain now moved and added to the top of her leg. So she was in a wheelchair, and we knew already, we knew that it spread, because there's no way that the pain would have moved if it was located, you know, just in her kidneys, and they confirmed that point for us. So then they said she would need an MIBG scan, and they needed this radioactive dye that was coming over from Holland.
I remember that. Just remember us sort of.
Yeah,
remember and me and Rachel sitting in the kitchen going, what can we do? Who can drive to Holland to get it?
Literally.
It was like, they were waiting for it. You said it was going to be a week or something.
Yeah, it was the following week. And we was like, why can't we just go to Holland and pick up this dye? And we even had, again, like, you guys all like, we can drive there.
Can we fly there? What can we
do? Like, Neve's mum the same, you know, I can literally fly there tomorrow. My brother-in-law, like, literally I can book a plane ticket. There's a plane, like, it's leaving tomorrow, you know. And I obviously asked the consultant about it, and they said because it's radioactive, it's nuclear medicine, they literally wouldn't allow anyone to just go and pick it up, obviously. So unfortunately we did have to wait for that to come in, and she had the scan the following week, and they confirmed, and they also done a biopsy. Sorry, I'm just trying to think of the timeline now. So that was skipping that. Even before they done the scan, they knew already it was neuroblastoma. So before they even done the scan, they knew already it was neuroblastoma. And the next day, so the Thursday, they booked her in for an insertion of her central line, which is a line that goes directly into one of the main arteries leading into her heart. And that is where they were going to be obviously administering the chemotherapy. And they said that they would start treatment on the Saturday, even before they knew the official, prognosis and where it spread to. They needed to start chemo immediately, and they literally done that the next day. So she started chemo. We got the diagnosis on the 26th of November that it was officially neuroblastoma. That came back from the biopsy that she had, and then they started treatment the next day. So it was really quick. So literally within a week, we had the diagnosis, and she started chemotherapy. There's been a few stories that I've heard where children have had the same diagnosis and not started treatment for another month or so at different hospitals. So I thought that was actually amazing at Great Ormond Street to work on it and to get that done, you know, immediately. And then the following week, having that scan, it's called MIBG scan, so where they insert the dye. I couldn't be around her, which I was gutted about, but actually I needed time with the other kids at home, obviously, because we'd been away for, you know, nearly 2 weeks now. So Chris stayed around, obviously, but she had the nuclear medicine and had the scan, and they confirmed that neuroblastoma had spread to pretty much all the bones and bone marrow in her body, including her skull, her eye sockets, her legs, her spine. It was everywhere. And that's when they confirmed, but it had not, and we were, I think, really lucky to say that it had not spread to any other organs. So obviously then started the treatment essentially.